I'm going to give you some examples and we're going to talk to them and so forth. I'm a little sick right now, so bear with me. So, you as an in-game leader at T-side, you have a couple things to do and to look out for. Let's say, I'm going to give you an example, you start the T-side round off and get a pick. So it's 5v4 in your favor. A lot of amateur teams will actually roll with that pick. Don't really feel it's the greatest idea on some maps. We're not going to get into specifics. It's your job to actually test it out and see what works. But let's say you start off with a 5v4 on Inferno favoring you. First, you have to let the CTs reset. So the CTs are going to reset in 3 different ways. They're either going to play a weak setup, which would, in case of Inferno, would be 2-2. 2 banana, 2A. So they'd be playing weak at A. Or they're going to gamble a site. They're either going to play 3 banana, 1A, or 3A, 1 banana. So that's when you start, as an in-game leader, that's when you start learning how your opponent's playing. Okay, these guys are going to definitely hit B. Let's gamble it. Let's play 3 here. You just tell the guy at A to play in pit, and he's able to communicate all that information to you guys. Or 3, they're going to push for information. Or they could be already pushed or aggroed. So the main thing you need to do as T is when you have numbers is let the CTs reset and hold for pushes. So people need to hold areas, not overextend, and then you need to hold common areas that are flashed and peaked or walk peaked. So like Inferno, someone might actually delay walk peak balcony or delay walk out of halls. It can happen. Or they might flash. They might be playing a stacked site at banana and they're just gonna flash and push banana. So it's important to like be patient when we get these advantages. Number 2 is you gotta play the timer. And what I mean by that, you see a lot of teams execute at a certain amount of time. So like a common time is like 35 seconds, 30 seconds, and like 25 seconds is kind of, 25 seconds is kind of touchy. 30 seconds is pretty good. Reason that they're doing this is, first they've let the CTs reset. They're making the CTs think. The T's are waiting for the CTs to make a mistake. So typically when you have numbers, what do? You regroup and execute on a site. And regroup is typically 4 players or 5. In the case of a 5v4 advantage. So 4 players are going to execute on banana. So why is it important to play the timer at the top of your screen? Why do teams execute at a certain amount of time? I'll explain why. When you execute on T side at a certain amount of time, let's just say you execute on banana at 30 seconds, that's plenty of time to get into the site, plant the bomb, kill the people. What does this do? If you only do it with 4 people and you have a lurk flank, what does this do for your teammates? So when you execute at a low amount of time, less amount of time, like 35, 30 seconds, let's just keep those 2 numbers in mind. What does that do for your flirk, not your flirk, but your lurk, your flank? It makes his job way easier and potentially open up the round in a different way. Let's say bomb is just chilled, hasn't gone back into banana, you guys executed on banana, and it's convincing, and this guy rolls up arch and picks the guy who wrote the last rotation from A. The bomb has plenty of time to get back to A, especially if it's the last guy going in. So when you execute as a T-side team with numbers, you're giving your lurk, your flank, which commonly on Inferno is T-min going up arch. an easier time to actually have a successful flank and lurk, because when you execute with a low amount of time, you can predict rotations more easier. Yeah, well, not easierly. Well, more easier. Whatever. Grammar. Blah. More easy. And that makes your flank and lurk job a lot easier, because he's most likely going to hear them before they see him. And most of the time, if you're playing a good team, they're going to disciplinedly rotate correctly. They're not going to push flank all the time. So, especially when they're below numbers. So it makes the job of your flank, your lurk, much easier. Now, this is when you execute at a low amount of time. So, now, where does it go wrong? Where does it go wrong? It goes wrong when your lurk, your flank, overextends. He makes his move too soon. Because when you execute late, it's gonna pull people off their spots faster, because they'll worry that, Banana's getting take, there's smokes and flashes. They start panicking and making faster decisions, instead of, let's say you execute at 50 seconds on Banana with a one-man advantage. That guy Arch may be a little bit more hesitant to rotate. He might just be chilling. He might chill for a little bit longer, because it's 50 seconds. It could easily be a fake. Next thing you know, you execute, the guy Arch still hasn't moved, and he kills your lurk. He kills your flank. And now numbers are even, and it could go bad. So, that's all I wanted to talk about today. Another thing I want to talk about real quick is taking map control and getting someone set up. I'm going to use Cash as an example on this. So, let's just say this. Let's say you get someone set up at B on Cash. So let's say set up. You know how your opponents are playing, and they always play site. They always play B site. So you do a two-man take on B to get a guy checkers. So you get a guy checkers, and he's just there chilling, watching vents. He knows checkers clear. So that guy is considered set up. For you in-game litters out there, that guy is set up at B. Do they know he's checkers? Who knows? Now, when a guy is set up on the other side of the map, you do not go to him unless new information is found out. If he says, oh, they rotated out of B. So the purpose of when you have someone set up on some of these maps in certain areas, the goal is to utilize their setup position. Going back to B and executing is not going to benefit him. He's not going to help you guys win the round as much as in comparison to you get someone set up, you go back to A. You throw your A smokes and your flashes, then that sets the guy up at B to kill the rotator. And then depending on the time that you executed, you can now fall back to B because he has the site and he successfully killed the rotator. So it's really gay. It's a really gay way to play Counter-Strike, but it starts getting everyone that you play against very frustrating when you start pulling it off. How mad do you think that last rotator out of B to A, and he gets fragged? How mad do you think he is? He's pretty upset. He's getting pretty distraught. And that's how you use someone who's set up. It's in my opinion, that's the better way to in-game lead. It's risky, but it can be rewarding. So it's your choice. Anyways, that's all I got to talk about today. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, comments, be sure to you can just comment on the video and I'll answer. I'll reply, or you can add me on Steam Friends and we can talk about it.